Hey everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today is another monthly reset video. I've been doing these since the beginning of the year. I go through the books that I hauled this month. I will go through what my TBR is going to be for next month very quickly. I just put the books on a different shelf. You can watch me select those books in my TBR selection video for the month of April. And then I will go through and do my reading journal, and I put the books away once I've done my monthly wrap up. I have not done that yet, so that's not getting filmed today, but I do have like 2 days left of the month, so I know I'm not getting any more books in, so I wanted to start pre-filming this. So we're gonna start with the books that I purchased this month, and then we'll go from there. So I was better this month than I have been. I got 17 books. I think that's all of them. I think I did better than I have been doing. So let me go through these really quick. So there are a few that I've already read, so I'm gonna do those first, and then we'll go on to the two other categories that I have. So without further ado, I'll stop yapping. The first book is one I actually purchased and read this month, and that is Wild Side by Elsie Silver. I loved this book, my favorite in the series so far. Highly, highly recommend, 5-star read. I'm really getting sick. The one thing I have to say is I'm really getting sick of the name Reese being in romance novels, but I freaking loved him. I loved Tabitha. I freaking loved her. But this couple, this storyline, their dynamic was just fire to me. So third, and there's one more coming out. Wild Card is coming out in September, so I'm excited to get my hands on that. A book I purchased that I read as an ARC last month that just came out this month is Smoke and Scar by Gretchen Powell Fox. I posted a small short about this. I did talk about this book at the beginning of my last monthly wrap up. I loved this book. If you like the shadow powers that you see all these males have in these fantasy novels, but you want your main character to have like Selena Sardathian vibes, this book has trials, it has found family, it has betrayal, it has everything I've ever wanted in a fantasy novel. I didn't want to put this down, and there's going to be 2 more. I think this will be a trilogy. So first of all, it's gorgeous. The hardback, as you can buy it in paperback too, but the hardback does have a designed hard case, and the book itself is just absolutely stunning. The story was stunning. I cannot wait. Our female character is the one who's the hero. She has the shadow powers. She is the one that, she just oozes Selena Sardathian vibes, but our main male character is the one that's a little bit of what I call a damsel in distress. Is he super? No, he can still fight, but I feel like that's how a lot of the females in those books are as well. They aren't weaklings, they can't do anything, but she is definitely, she's the badass. So loved this book. And then I finally gave in and bought the special edition of The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, because this is hands down one of my favorite books of all time. I also have not had my copy of this book for 2 years because I lent it to my mother and she still hasn't read it. So when this came out, I bit the bullet and just got it because Barnes & Noble was having their triple points weekend. So I was like, if I'm going to get it, I'm going to pay for it. I'm going to get the points for it. So I got it that weekend. It's absolutely stunning. Edges, the cover, I think there's like a small design on the front. Yeah, there's just the Nightingale design on the front, and then the end pages have like the Eiffel Tower in it. But absolutely stunning book, both visually and just the actual book itself. So if I'm ever going to tell somebody to read a historical fiction, if you think you don't like historical fiction, this is the book I'm going to recommend. So glad to add that to my collection. And then finally, I just bought these the other day. I've been trying not to buy from Target too much or Amazon, but they had their buy 2 get 1 free sale, and I have been waiting for that sale to come around to get these 3 books because I didn't want to pay full price for them because it was going to be like $90. But I got the hardback cover versions of the 3 books out so far in the Crowns of Nyaxia series. So Serpent and the Wings of Night, The Ashes and the Starker's King, and The Songbird and the Heart of Stone. I loved these books. Specifically, this one I think is underrated. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about it, but I loved it. It is a slow burn with a very shocking ending. I don't know what's going to happen in the next one, but I loved that couple. But I also liked Rain and what was her name? Araya. So I love Carissa Broadbent and so far and what I've read, which has only been the series, but I do plan on trying to read some of her other books as well. But I did want to pick these up while they were on that sale because Target not only has their books just listed cheaper, but then to get one free, I couldn't pass up the deal. a pre-order that I had come in at the beginning of the month. This is shiny, and I apologize for the lighting, but this is the second book in the Chronicles of Castelline series by Cassandra Clare. It's her adult debut series. The first book was Swordcatcher. This is the Ragpicker King, and I want to get into this so badly, but I've just had other books. There's so many books I want to read that it's overwhelming at times. But I do want to get to this in the next like month or two just because it's fresh. I want to know. People are starting to read it and I'm hearing good things. I loved the first book, so I'm just hoping this one's even better now that the story and the world has been set. So I am not going to even attempt to describe this because I fail at it every time. But if you're curious, read the synopsis for the Swordcatcher book because that'll probably explain it better than I can. But it's a very unique magic system, a very unique world, and we follow three main characters essentially and their connections with each other. And I think the dynamics are really going to change in this one, so I'm excited to get into that. Also at Barnes & Noble, I picked up Supernova, which is the third and final book in the Renegade series. This, spoiler, is on my TBR for next month, so I will be getting to this and finishing out that trilogy. Very excited for that. I really enjoyed Arch Enemies, the second book. I liked the Renegades, but Arch Enemies was very, very good. So I'm hoping that this book just elevates that even more. But we're essentially following superheroes, good and bad superheroes. The main characters are like the younger generation of it, but you still do get like a little bit of the older generation of them as well because they're the ones that started it, you know, the war. But anyway, really enjoyed the last book. Very much looking forward to finishing out this series. It's a nice toe dip into sci-fi because it's like, I would say sci-fi dystopian. And it's YA, so it's very easy to comprehend. Another book I picked up to finish out a series that I have that I didn't own this book from was Bloody Heart. This is like the fourth book, I want to say, in the Brutal Birthright series. I read the first two, and then I have the next one. I was missing this one, and then I think I have the final two. I don't know. I've enjoyed this series so far. Not my favorite. I know there's like some discourse about Sophie Lark right now. I bought the other books before all of this came out, and I needed to finish the series out, okay? Sorry, but it is what it is. And I needed this one to get it. It was the only one I couldn't find on like Book Outlet when I was buying the other one, so I did have to go purchase it at Barnes & Noble, but we'll see. It is slightly dark romances with like a mafia vibe. We have multiple different nationalities of mobs in here. Or like mafias. We've got the Italians, we've got the Polish, we've got the Irish. Were the Russians in it? I don't know. I feel like we're gonna get all the countries, but for me, not being a huge dark romance fan, this is about where I can land on these kinds of things. So have that one as well. I also picked up Story of My Life from Lucy Score's new series. Does she have a name for this one? She does, and I can't think of what it's called. Story Lake. Very excited for this. I've heard she has deemed it a mix of Gilmore Girls meets Schitt's Creek. So that's all I need to say. And from what I understand is this girl moves to this town and is trying to redo this home and gets this grumpy contractor and he's trying to help her. I think she's a writer. Yeah, so she's having like writer's block. She's a romance novelist and he's gonna date her so that she can get ideas for this book. We all know how that's gonna go. So Lucy Score, I do like her Grumpy Sunshines. I know not everybody does, but I do. So I'm excited for this one. Excited to start a new series from her. Hopefully this summer. Like, I'm trying not to start too many series, but I feel like this needs to be read in like the summertime. Then I also picked up Shark Heart by Emily Habeck. I wasn't keen on this, but I've heard so many good things about it, and it's made like the finalists for like, I think Goodreads, and like I think it was a Book of the Month finalist for the Book of the Year too. I don't know. So many people have said good things about it, and quite honestly, I am trying to complete the 52 and 52, and one of the prompts is a book written in verse, and this is written in verse, so when I saw that as an option, I was like, you know what? To complete that prompt and to give this book a try, I am going to grab it. So I did get the paperback version, which is purple. I think the original version's like blue. But as you can see, like I'd never actually opened the book, but I don't think it's going to take me too long to read just because of how it's written. And it is a very unique storyline. It's this couple that gets married, and like right after they get married, the husband gets diagnosed with a rare disease that is slowly turning him into a great white shark. Very bizarre premise, but I've heard such great things that I'm like, you know what? Interest has been piqued. So we're going to give that a shot at some point this year. Mainly to try to complete that prompt, but we'll see. I could end up loving it. Who the heck knows? Another pre-order I had was Summer in the City by Alex Astor. This just came in the other day. I got the Barnes & Noble one, so it has the taxis. She had like 7,000 freaking different special editions for this, depending on where you bought it. This one has the heart, I think, on the cover. Yeah, there's like a coffee cup. There's, I don't know. And then the end paper art, and this one is signed. I did buy one of the signed ones. I do like Alex Astor's writing in the Lightlark series, so I figured I'd give her first romance a try. I think this is another fake dating. Yeah, because like she's again another writer with having a writer's block, and he's like a billionaire tech guy, and he needs someone to go to like all these events with him, and he's not really interested in a relationship. So again, she uses him as a muse. He uses her so that he's, you know, got people off his back about being in a relationship and all that. So fake dating. I'm going to read this in the summer. It's called Summer in the City. It is probably going to you'll probably end up seeing this on my summer TBR list. Spoiler alert. I haven't made the list yet, but this one will probably be on there. So looking forward to giving that a shot. I haven't seen anybody, no, have I? I want to say Rachel Catherine read it, but I don't know that I actually finished watching the video where she was reading it, so I'm not sure what everyone's thoughts are on it yet. And now finally on to the last 5 books are book boxes that I got this month. I have not received 3 of the book boxes. I'm missing my fantasy and YA fantasy Fairy Loot and my Afterlight Illumicrate. I did not get the regular Illumicrate this month. My 2 book of the months this month, because I am a BFF, so I get to choose one of the book of the year choices every whenever March that they release them. So the first book I picked from my actual choice was Liquid, a Love Story, and I think this is like LGBT rep. It does not have great ratings. I put it into my Goodreads and it has like just above a 3-star rating, so I'm a little concerned about that, but it's some type of a literary fiction about a woman who basically she wants to marry rich, but she's trying to like make it, I don't know how to describe it. Like she has a spreadsheet on like how to do this. So she's trying to make it like, she's trying to take the emotion out of it and like figure out like basically a formula to figure out how to find a man to marry rich. That's the basis of the understanding I have. I think it's supposed to be kind of funny, satirical. I love a good spreadsheet. So we'll see. Very sad that it doesn't have good ratings, but you know what? I don't always agree with everybody. There's actually quite a few very popular books that people love that I didn't like and people didn't like that I loved, so that's why we all have our own opinions. But anyway, we're gonna give it a go. If I DNF it, I DNF it and I unhaul it, it's fine. Then I got God of the Woods, which was actually the winner. I was between this and, I can't even remember. Oh, The Wedding People. But because this was the winner, they did a special edition with this like gold foiling, and they also sprayed the edge. It's just pink, but they sprayed the edge like purpley pink. And then the back has like a shiny lolly on it, because that's what they call their little award. And I really want to read this. I know this is another one that I know there have been popular book talkers and booktubers that have not liked it, but there have been people that loved it. So I'm going to give it a go. Based on the people I've seen that have liked it, they have more similar book tastes with me. So I'm going to still give this one a go. I think it's like a thriller, but written more like a literary fiction or just like a contemporary fiction or something like that. It's not written like a lot of like a thriller, but I don't know too much about it. I don't really want to know too much about it other than like, I think it takes place at a summer camp and some girls go missing. That's really all I know. So God of the Woods by Liz Moore. And obviously there was a reason it won. Enough people voted for it, so enough people liked it. Then this was my Fairy Loot, I want to say Romantasy. I never know which one's which. For last month, I got this just at the beginning of March instead of at the end of February. And it's The Scorpion and the Night Blossom by Emily Wen Zhao. I have not seen anybody read it yet. I don't really know what it's about. I do look ahead at what the books are going to be for all the book subscriptions I get. So I will skip if I don't think I'm going to like the book. So obviously I liked this one enough to get it. But says the immortality trials offer a second chance in a brutal world and are open to any mortal willing to risk the journey to the immortal realm. The prize for completing them is eternal life. So this girl enters to help heal her dying mother, but she'll need help if she's going to complete them. So a rival contestant, both powerful and handsome, promises protection and a chance of survival for both her and her mother. She will need to find out quickly whether she can finally trust the stranger she's falling for or if he's the most dangerous player of all, for herself and for all the realms. So I think this is the Romantasy one. Trials. That's all I need to see. This book is actually very beautiful too. Like the sprayed edges are very detailed. There's a little scorpion. The end paper art is gorgeous. The book itself is gorgeous. I just love these special editions, and it would hurt me to part with them if I read them and don't end up liking them. But stay tuned for my TBR for next month, because That one's going to be a little unique too. And it has to do with all of my subscription books. This was the Fairy Loot. Was this the Fairy? I don't even know. This was also my Fairy Loot for last month, so this could have been the Romantasy too. Who the heck knows? This is Helen Scher's Iron and Embers, and this is in the Legend of Thesmar universe, so I do want to read those first. They are all on Kindle Unlimited, so I am trying to read those this year. They have been added to my Kindle Unlimited list as a priority so that I can get to this book, but I don't want to read it before I read that one. Those ones, I think there's 4. So I only really want to read what it's about because I don't know if that's going to spoil anything, but I know a lot of people love the Legends of Thesmar series, so I am looking forward to getting into that and then into this one as well. This was a highly anticipated book for a lot of people that I follow, so it made me excited when I saw that it was going to be the Fairy Loot, I don't know, fantasy or romantasy for last month, but gorgeous again. The actual cover looked, I don't like destroy it, looked like this. And then I really like this hardcover. I love when the hardcovers look like a spell book or something. I think it's really pretty. And paper art, sprayed edge. So, absolutely stunning. All of the Fairy Loot does a very good job with their special editions, I will say that. And then I did get the Fairy Loot. This is the Romantasy one, because the one I'm missing is the fantasy. Adult Fantasy is Ollie Blake's new book, and I'm very mad that I don't have that in my hands yet, but I actually don't think it's out yet, or it just came out. I don't know. This book actually isn't out yet either, and this is Firebird by Juliet Cross. There's a dragon on the front and a dragon tail on the side. So, do I need to know anything else? Nope. Okay, so this is like Roman themed, it looks like, based on the picture I just saw as well as what I just read. Roman general Julianus, not gonna name that, laid eyes on Melina. He was enthralled by her. She's a dancer. Years later, the fierce beauty stands before him on a scarred battlefield, her life in danger. He instinctively shifts into his ooh, he's a dragon. He instinctively shifts into his dragon form, Darius, and to save her, an action that may result in his head on the Imperial Gate. But he and his dragon know one thing: she belongs to them. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna read. Sounds great. I want to read this right now. Why did I do that to myself? Yeah, stunning book. And paper. I don't actually know what the real book looks like. I know this is what I do like the new cut, like the Fairy Loot cover more, because I didn't really like. I don't like when covers are just people. Oh, I have a rant I could go on about the Quicksilver and Brimstone books. That I've seen a lot of people with discourse on that. I like them because I didn't particularly like his face on the first one. To each their own. I still read the book. I still loved the book. I wasn't going to not read it because it had a person's face on it. I just didn't want to buy it and put it on my shelf. So I like the very simplistic style of the new covers, but that's all I'll say. All right, so those are the books that I bought this month. Happy to say that I only have 10 of them that I haven't read. So that's good, right? Is it 10? 11. Because I put one up with my TBR. I have 11 books off of it that I haven't read, which I think is good. 6 of them had already been read, or I did read 1 this month, so not too bad to add to the physical TBR. So now let's go, speaking of physical TBRs, let's go put the next month's TBR on the shelf in my bedroom. All right, so to put the next month's books that I plan on reading on my shelf, we'll go through the 12 that are actually on my TBR that I chose first, and then I have 3, I think, other ones that I do want to get to in the month as well. First is Una Out of Order by Margarita Montemore. I'm very excited for this one. I've seen a lot of people reading it lately. Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambo, if I said that right. The Teller of Small Fortunes by Julie Leong. The Favorites by Lane Fargo, also very excited for this one. Famous Last Words by Jilly McAllister. Never by Jessa Hastings. Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. Supernova by Marissa Meyer. Cujo by Stephen King. Once Smitten, Twice Shy by Chloe Leese. And A Man Called Ove by Frederick Bachman. So those are my 12 that I chose. These 3 I also want to try to read. Gods and Monsters by Shelby Maher, the final book in the Serpent and Dove series. The Love Lyric by Christina Forrest, the final book in the Green Sisters series. There is a theme, if you can guess it. And Scythe and Sparrow, the third book in the Ruinous Love trilogy. There's also 2 books on my actual TBR that fit into this theme as well, but you'll all see that in a few weeks. So on to probably my journal next. I'm not filming that today either, but that's probably what will be next in the video. So I'm gonna do a little bit of my journal tonight. I'm not gonna finish it, but I'm trying to get little pieces of this video done over the course of the week so that I'm not doing everything at one time. So we're gonna start with my filling in my 25 and 2025 page from, what month did we just have? March. And I only read two books off of this list. So I read The Compendium of Lost Tales, Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett, and Blood and Honey by Shelby Mahurin. I think those are the only 2 I read. Yes, so we're gonna add these to the list. So this is filling up quite nicely. I think I'm reading Deep End currently. So I hit 12. So Deep End is literally like the middle. So I'm right in the middle of my 25 and 2025. So that is great because we're only in the 4th month of the year. And I am going to try to read Fearless this month. I think that's it off of this. So, and that's not on my official TBR. I'm just going to try to read it because it comes out and I really want to read it. So now we're going to do my by the genre, by the rating, color codey thing. And then we'll move on from there. Okay, so that is what my little pixel page looks like so far. It is like super fun to see it like all come together. You can see there's a lot of purple and a lot of pink. Those are my 2 top genres. It's fantasy and romance. So now we're gonna do my physical TBR from 2024. I'm just gonna go through and mark off the ones that I've read. And I think it's a few, not as many maybe as I would have liked, but still making progress. That was quick. I was getting a little nervous doing the first half of the page because there was like nothing but like here down, like I got quite a few. So that's good. And then next is my series update. I'll go through this as quickly as we can. I ran out of room. So I have not decided if I'm going to continue adding series to this or if like this is what it is going to be for this book, because I do have another journal that I haven't shown you guys, but I do track all of my series in there a little bit more in more detail. So we'll see. But I finished the 2nd book in Renegades this month, the 6th book in the Zodiac Academy. I finished Emily Wilde, so that's done. 2nd book in Serpent and Dove. 3rd book in Rose Hill, and I do know there's going to be another one. Wild Card comes out, I want to say in September, I think. So 2nd book in Kings of Sin, 2nd book in Waxways, 2nd book in Brutal Birthright, if you can tell. I apparently just stop after like the 1st book. Mistborn, The Green Sisters, Red Rising, Beyond the Play, Dirty Diana, The Veiled Kingdom I finished, Shadows Between Us I finished, and Addicted Calloway, I read the second one. I made that one instead of making that 2 different series. So that is where I ran out of space, is when I did Addicted Calloway. But I can show you real brief what my other journal looks like. I'm not going to go into detail, but you'll see that it's more detailed than what this is. So I have each of the series that I'm reading, and then so the title and then the different books that are out. And if I know there's going to be, like, I'm pretty sure there's going to be 4 books in the Chronicles of Castellane, so I have 4. I know there's going to be 5 in the Empyrean. I have 5. I don't know what the other titles are, but that just keeps in my mind that I know that there's this many books left. But for stuff like The Boys of Tommen, I don't know how many books she's going to do. I just added releasing 10. I'm not sure that she knows how many books she's going to do in that, so hopefully there's enough space. Like Webs We Weave, which is the Kristen Becker Ritchie series. I don't know how many there's going to be in that, so I left some space. But yeah, I just have them all saved in here. And then, so I have a lot of series, if you can't tell. And then I kind of did Brandon Sanderson on his own half page, which is like the Cosmere as it stands today. And then I actually numbered in the little box. This is not focusing. I numbered in the little box, like what order I'm planning on reading it in, after I watched a video of him discussing how he thinks people should read his universe. So that's where those came from. So that is where I'm really tracking my series, but anything that I'm kind of working on this year, I have in here just so that I have that in my mind. And then the next thing we'll do is color in the month, and we'll move on from there. All right, after I was interrupted, probably should have used a lighter color. I can still read it if I look at it, but that is what I read in March. I know my months. I didn't want to use the same green, so that's why I used a different one, but oh well. And then the last thing I think I'm going to do today is write the books that I bought this month, and then cross off the ones that I read already this year, that I've bought this year. So I'm going to do that off screen, and then I'll come back because it's just going to take too long and it'll eat up too much time on my memory card. Proud to say that this month was a lot better. Only added a little bit here and then a few up there, and I've read 2 of the ones that I bought this month. So I did buy 3 books that I'd like previously read. Like if I didn't read the book this year, I'm not putting it on here. I had been waiting for a sale to buy particular books, and I bought them. But these are just books that I bought that I needed to read that I hadn't read yet this year. So I didn't buy too many, which is always good, seeing as I'm going on vacation this month, and I will probably be buying a lot of books at the bookstores down there. So that's all we're going to do for tonight, but we'll come back tomorrow, or the night, I don't know. We'll come back at another point during the week, and I will continue on. Okay, so it's a few days later. I'm going to continue on with my book journal a little bit this morning, and then maybe finish this up like later this afternoon. We'll see. But the next spread that I need to update is my yearly statistics. So we can go over those quickly as I fill them in. I read 23 books this month, which equaled 10,046 pages. And that could also be like a book that I started before the end of the month. Like I started Dawn of Onyx before, and I didn't finish it before the end of the month, but I'm still going to count the pages. So that is like a daily total, not book. And then I listened to 6 audiobooks outside of the 23. And I only bought 16 books this month, which is very good considering in January I bought 32 and in February I bought 27. So we're getting better. And my average rating was up 0.2 from last month. So it was 4.07 versus the 4.05 the previous month, which was the highest of the year so far. So that is my first quarter of the year statistics. TBR for winter. This is obviously completed, but I gotta cross off any books that I've read on here. I did Emily Wilde's, I think is the only one. I actually wrote 2 more, but we're into April, so I'll hold off on marking those off until next month. So that's not too bad. And then spring TBR, I read Wild Side this month, which was on my March anticipated releases. And I now own all but 2 of the books. And I don't know that I'm gonna, this is probably not opinion that most share. I don't know that I'm gonna read Sunrise on the Reaping. I am so far outside of my like Hunger Games era. Like I read A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes last year because I was like, I need to read it because I never read it. I did not like it. And I also have just seen people do nothing but sob over this book, and I don't know that I want to put myself through that. So as of this moment in time, I'm probably not going to read it, but that could change. So we'll see. I know it's been very well received, so I know it's good, but I just don't know that I want to put myself through that emotional turmoil. And now I just crossed off 2. I had read Smoke and Scar the previous month as an arc, and then I read Wild Side this month. Now I got to put in the books that I read that are on my spring TBR. Okay, yeah, that was all of them. So I read the Irishborn trilogy by Nora Roberts. That was actually 3 separate books, but I read it in a bind-up, so I'm counting it as one here. I read The Partner Plot by Christina Forrest, Home Before Dark by Riley Sager, and Arch Enemies by Marissa Meyer. I think that's all I read last month. Again, I've read 2 more since then, but that's for next month's wrap up. So I've done 4 books, which is 1 less than I like to do. I like to try to do 5 a month, but it's like 5 days into the next month and I've already read 2 more, so not that worried about it. All right, so the next thing I'm gonna do is fill out books read, pages read, and then my 2 little statistics graphs. And then I'll fill out all these star ratings for my TBR for the month. So I'll do that and then I'll circle back. So this is done. I printed these off a little bit too big, so they got overlapped a little bit and I had to cover up statistics, but you know what? Things happen. And then all my ratings on my TBR for the month. And now I have to do my spreads. So I gotta do the spreads for just like everything else for the month. So audiobooks, Kindle Unlimited reads, more reads and everything. So I'm gonna get cracking on that and then I will come back and show you what that looks like. All right, so the only thing I haven't done on this page is put in my audiobooks because I figured we'd go through those. But this is my spreads for other books that I read this month that weren't on my TBR and then my KU reads. But in no particular order, the audiobooks I listened to this month were Take a Hint, Dani Brown. That's by Talia Hibbert. I also listened to Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which is actually the first one. It goes Get a Life, Chloe Brown, Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and then I've already listened to, but I finished it in April, was Actor Age Eve Brown. So listen to all 3 of those. P.S. I Hate You by Lauren Connolly. This was my favorite listen this month. I've actually already bought the book because I want to physically read the book. So I got that as a book of the month add-on because I knew they had it. And I had just finished it when I was picking my book of the months. So I picked up that. Boyfriend Material by Alexis Hall. That one I enjoyed too. Because I'm not usually in like an MM romance person. Like I'm very particular about that, but I really did enjoy that one. So it makes me want to try Red, White, and Royal Blue. I've been a little hesitant to do that, but I also listened to When Grumpy Met Sunshine by Charlotte Stein. That was just a cute, semi-sports romance. And then Rookie Move by Serena Bowen. I enjoy listening to Serena Bowen's romances on her hockey romances on audiobook, obviously, but I've listened to a few of them and she's done I think a few books with Elle Kennedy. I think they've co-written a few books together, but I am trying to do my audiobooks based on Goodreads finalists for book of the years for the past few years. I have a whole list of them in the one notebook that I keep, and I've been trying to listen to the ones that I don't think I'll read physically just to try to get through them to see if I like them. And that's why I started listening to the Talia Hibbert books, because 2 of them I think were on there. I want to say Take a Hint, Dani Brown, and Actor Age Eve Brown were on there because I only went back so many years. So that's done. So the next thing I need to do is my TBR for April. I need to put those stickers on. I have not printed them yet, so we'll do that and then I'll come back. Okay, I'm back to do my April TBR pictures. I printed them off. We already went over what they are in this video, so I'm not going to do that again. But I'll put these down and then I'll show you. All ready for April. So let's see what's next. I didn't print out book club, so we're gonna have to skip that one. But next up is actually series started versus series completed. So give me a second to look through what I have to put on here and then I'll come back. Okay, so I only started 2 series. The first was the Irishborn trilogy, and the second was Scorched Skies. That's called something else. Way of Wings series. And then I finished a few. So I finished The Darkness Within Us. Nope. The Shadows Between Us. That didn't really have any other name to my knowledge. Emily Wilde's. The Veiled Kingdom. The Irishborn trilogy, because I started and finished that. And I think that was it. So that was it. So not too bad. Started 2 but finished 4. So for the first time, this side had more than this, which is good. So this coming month should also, because of a vlog I'm filming right now. Next is my yearly favorites. So by month, this month I had I had 3 5-star reads this month. Fated Throne, which is the 6th book in the Zodiac Academy series. That's my first 5-star in that series. Then I had Golden Sun, which is the 2nd book in Red Rising. And then Wildside by Elsie Silver. And I chose Wildside just because at the point in time that I'm picking this, that is the one that I think I enjoyed the most. And I just think it's because I connected with the characters the most. I loved them all. They were all 5 stars, obviously. But I did not realize that I picked a green cover, though, for a green month. But it's still fun. Okay, and then now I have to fill out the genre tracker. I did not print a book for the April book. Oh, Jesus, what's it called? Book club. But I know I'm not going to read it. And I did not read last month's Tell Me Lies because I just was not interested in it. April, I'm not going to read it, but I've already read it. And I did not like the book. And this is probably an unpopular opinion, that was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I really just didn't enjoy that book. It was like a 3-star read for me. Didn't hate it, but I just, in my opinion, it gets a lot of hype and I didn't see it. I didn't understand why. But for my genre tracker, I'm going to have to go back because I cleared out the other one. Read 10 fantasy, 8 romance, 2 thrillers, 0 historical fiction, 1 literary fiction, general fiction, literary fiction, 0 nonfiction, 2 sci-fis, 0 mystery, 0 dystopian, and 0 horrors. Obviously, I have certain genres that I read the most of, and that's why the first 3 were fantasy, romance, and thriller. I'm trying to read a little bit more general fiction and historical fiction this year, as well as sci-fi, but those numbers are still not going to be anywhere close to what I normally do with the other ones. So that's complete. And then this one, I will print that at some point. I am upset though because they're having this one at a Condado Tacos location. Part of me wants to go just to get tacos and talk about how much I like would like to hear what other people think of the book, because I can't be the only one that didn't love that book, but we'll see. Rereads for the month, I did Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets and Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. That got me back on track to finish, or, you know, to read 1 a month, because I do want to finish this series out this year, and then actually I want to finish ACOTAR as well, and if I do 1 book a month for all of those, that's 12, so it worked out pretty well. But I did not read 1 in February, so I had to read 2 this month. But Harry Potter's are very quick reads for me. I can usually just like snap them out in a day, so it hasn't been too bad. ACOTAR will take longer. The first one and then like the little novella won't, but the rest of them probably will. Okay, and then 5-star reads, like I said, I had 3, and I'm like running out of room on this page. I feel like I haven't had that many. I feel like I've had a lot more this year than I did last year, so I don't know what is happening. But I gotta put these 3 on here, and then that should be it. I'm gonna be short for space if I don't stop reading all these 5-star reads this year. This makes 8 for the year so far, and we're only just now starting April. I didn't have one yet in April. We're not even a week in, but still it's a little alarming. So rereads for the year, 5-star reads for the year. Like I said, I don't know what I'm just gonna start putting them everywhere. I've been trying to keep them like by month, but that may change. Okay, 52 books in 52 weeks. It's getting harder to find ones that fit this just because I'm getting to the point where I've done a lot of the like common ones. So I was able to do a fairy tale retelling because Stolen Heir is like Beauty and the Beast-esque by Sophie Lark. And then on the next page, I can do shares a universe with prompt 28. So for prompt 28, it was crossover set in a shared universe. I did The Striker by Anna Huang, so I'm putting King of Pride in for shares a universe because they are all within the Aniverse. Includes a diary entry. I did Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales because basically the entire book is a diary entry. Written in third person, I did A Whisper in the Walls. And then 300 to 400 pages long, I'm doing The Darkness Within Us by Tricia Levenseller. So that's where we stand. This is the first page of 26 prompts. And here's the second page. I still am doing, obviously, quite well, I think, for the beginning of the year. I realize I read a lot compared to the average person, but it is going to be hard to get some of these. Like, I had one on here, Told in Verse. I literally bought Shark Heart for that. I've been wanting to read Shark Heart, and then when I saw that it was one that is considered Told in Verse, I was like, that's perfect. But some of these I think are going to be a little harder. I don't know that I'm going to read a prequel. That might be when I read Sunrise on the Reaping. If I read that this year, that would be a prequel. I can't think of any other ones, but some of these I can do. I just haven't yet because like first name, author's first name and last name, like author's last name is also first name. Kristen Hanna, I could do one of her books. I'm planning on reading one of her books this month. More Than a Million Copies Sold. I could do any of the Harry Potter books for that because I know that those have sold more than 1 million copies, but I digress. So for the Buzzword Title Challenge for March, the theme was Thing. So I did Nothing More to Tell by Karen M. McManus because it had nothing. And then for the cover challenge, it was books. And the only one, ironically, that I could find that had books on it was Years Between You. He is holding a book. I don't know if this will focus. I don't think this will focus, but he is holding a tiny book in his arm. So that was the best I could get. I literally looked through every title when I go to pick these. I try to like pre-look at these, like you'll see now. I already have tabs in there for what I'm going to use for April because I pick books specifically for that. I did not actually for April, but the theme is animal for both. So animal in the title and an animal on the cover. And I ironically had 2 books in my TBR that I selected that fit that. So that was good. But so far, so good on that. Some of the months are going to be a little harder, I think, but we'll see. And then the alphabet challenge. I have Blood and Honey for B, Diana in Love for D, Golden Sun for G, Ricochet for R, Scorched Skies for S, and Wild Side for W. Oh, see, Years Between You would have been a good one for Y, too. I'll have to think on that one. I don't think I'm going to have an X or a Z. Q's are hard unless you have a book that starts with like Queen. So that is the alphabet challenge for the year so far. And then I did read Scorched Skies. I don't remember when I reviewed that though. So that was by E.J. Mello. I gave that 4 stars the 29th. So I can then color that in. I actually just got another arc too, so I have to write that in here. I don't know if I've gone over like the arcs that I have. I am trying to keep on top of them. I ask for a lot of them on NetGalley, but I don't get approved. I get approved maybe 50% of the time. It is what it is. That's why I just ask for a bunch. But I know that like it's gonna bite me one time because I'm just all of a sudden probably gonna get. They're gonna be like, we don't care who reads this, sure, and I'm gonna have 50 on here. But so far I've been able to read like 1 a month. I'm gonna try to read 2 in April. I didn't even put it on here yet. I have another one I just got approved for. I get all of my ARCs through NetGalley too. Like, I am not special enough to get like publishers to send me things, and that's fine. Battle of the Bookshops by Poppy Alexander, and that comes out in August 19th. Okay, so the ones I still have to read, I'll add that in here in a second, are in the order that I have to read them because of publication order. I have to read My Friends by Frederick Bachman. That comes out the 20th of May. And then It's a Love Story by Annabelle Monaghan comes out the 27th of May. I'm going to try to read both of those on vacation because I have them on my Kindle. Then Gracie Harris is Under Construction comes out July 29th. So I could read it in May, I could read it in June. We'll just see what time I have. For the Record by Emma Lord comes out August 12th. Battle of the Bookshops by Poppy Alexander comes out the 19th of August. And then A Land So Wide by Erin A. Craig comes out the 9th of September. So far, nothing really too far towards the end of the year. So I should be able to continue my little 1, maybe 2 a month of them. But that's it. I think that's it. So thank you again so much for watching. I appreciate all of you, and I do enjoy doing these videos. It does help me with like my own personal stress. It keeps me accountable to read, even though I really don't need that because I read to keep my stress levels down. But I do enjoy doing this. It is a fun hobby for me, and I appreciate every single one of you that interact. That is why I do this. So thank you if you've made it this far in the video, and I hope to see you all in the next one.